Hello there, and welcome back to my workshop. This is episode 3 of my series on the boot bench. I'm making a boot bench for our entryway here at the house, something we can sit on and pull our boots off in the snowy and muddy weather, and also a place to store our shoes and our boots. So here's where we are right now. We've been working on the ends, and you can see here I have the stopped cutout here for the front and back panels made, and we laid out and cut our arm curve here, and on the bottom here we have our cyma curve for our feet, and worked out really well. For the curves I used a coping saw, rasps, and a spoke shave where I could, and let me just show you here what I did. I did need a little bit of sanding here and there, so what I like to do is make sanding sticks, and here's one of them here, and you just take a stick the size and shape that you need, and with a little spray adhesive put on your sandpaper, and it worked really well for sanding in little areas that I couldn't reach in any other way. So they turned out to be pretty handy. And for this curve here, this big curve here, the spoke shave worked extremely well, and I really didn't need much sanding at all, but I did need a little bit. And here's what I used. A soup can, yes, and you can see here I took some double back tape and wrapped it around the can, and then I wrapped sandpaper around it. And this actually worked very well for just touching up those areas where I really needed it. And then for my cyma curve down here, this little curve down here, I used a smaller soup can. So not exactly traditional, but it works, and got the job done. So now we're ready for the next step, and that is going to be putting dados that run along here, along the bottom. And these dados are going to house the bottom board that slides in during the assembly. So we need to mark and cut these out. So let's get going. Now, let's see here. I have to fasten this down so it doesn't move. The dados meet this bottom right where that stopped cut is. So my first cut is going to be even with the end of that stopped cut. So that's right there. Make sure that's right on. Yes, it is. Take a utility knife and gently at first and then with a little more gusto okay, and notch it out. I got that pretty good. And now what I'm going to use is a saw, back saw, and just deepen that cut to 1/4 of an inch. That's the depth I'm going to here. So this usually hangs up pretty nicely in the beginning. 1/4 of an inch, is that what I said? Mm-hmm. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now you can't see it, but I put little depth marks on here, 1/4 inch depth marks, with a little Sharpie so that my saw acts like a depth gauge. As I'm working, I can see where I'm going, and I can just keep right on sawing until I get the right depth. So, got that. Now we have to mark it for the thickness of our bottom. And this is a piece from the same bottom board, just a cutoff. So I'll be using that to make my measurement with. And I just stick it up against the little kerf I made, tip it in, and make a mark, and do the same thing here. Put it in the kerf, tip it in, and go like that. Then I'll flip it over here. How's that? Can you see? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me clamp it. And scribe my line again. That looks good. Okay. Now it's chisel work here. And I use my marking gauge to mark 1/4 of an inch down along here. So I know where to place my chisel in the end. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. But trust me, it's there. All right, now we're just going to get this started. Now I'm going to work my way down the line here. If it ain't pretty, it's pretty close. I'm going to turn it around. Ooh, nicked myself a little bit there. Keep the camera rolling. It's all right.
Do you need a Band-Aid?
I will, but we're fine. Okay. All right. I think I cut myself once every show, and that was the once, I hope. Okay. Where are we here? Let's see. Bring this back over here. And get this secured again. Okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. And now it is router time. I know, that's okay.
Okay.
I got lots of blood, believe me. Keep rolling. We're not reshooting this, okay? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right, please. All right. Okay, now it should go a little more smoothly. Of course, I just jinxed myself. Okay. Love this router plane, I'll tell you. As far as I'm concerned, it is an essential tool in my workshop. I think we're there. Yes. All right, it's final depth here. Okay, can you see in there? Mm-hmm. I think that looks pretty good. Let's test the fit here. Okay, that's snug. So I'm happy with that. Now I guarantee you, when I slide this bottom in, it's going to be too tight because you've got two dados going at the same time. But that's fine because what I'm going to do is use my block plane and just bevel off just a bottom bit of the bottom of my bottom, and I'll get that to fit exactly right. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to do the other one. You'll see a little bit of that, and then we're going to pick it up from there and do the front and back panels. They have to be rabbeted. So lots to do here. Okay, we have our dados done, and you can see them here, and they're going to house our bottom. The bottom's going to slide into this during assembly, and then we nail in from both sides, and that's going to make a nice strong bottom for our project. Now let's move on to the front and back panels. I have a panel here. This will be the front, give you an approximate idea of how it's going to go together. And they will sit in our stopped cutout areas here. And they will have 1/8" deep rabbets that go along the inside edges to form an interlocking joint. And that's important not only to make a good joint, but also because it makes assembly a whole lot easier. When I clamp this together and I start nailing it, they'll stay together and won't get bumped out of position as I go. So let's get things moved out of the way here, and we'll start on our panels here. Now these panels are 24 inches long, and I've cut them to 24 1/8. Reason being is I want these to be slightly proud, because after assembly what I'll do is I'll plane these down and make these nice and flush. So let me show you how I laid that out. What I did was I found my exact midpoint here and marked it, and then I made a center line by going along here like this. It's nice and square with this edge here. And then I took my rule and set it right on there at 12 and measured out equal distances to where my rabbets are going to be. So I marked it here, in this case it's 11 1/4 inches. Then I just moved it up here, and again, same distance here and here. So I'm always referencing this line here and this face here. And what that means is it's going to be much more accurate as far as the location of my rabbets go. And this can be a little bit proud, and these can be a little bit out of square. It won't really matter because I'm referencing this line here. So that's the philosophy there. Now, what I did, you can see I've scribed this line here, and over here I scribed a line, and then what I did was I cut out a little notch there. You see me do that. And then what I did was I took a saw and cut down 1/8 of an inch depth. That's the depth that my rabbit's going to be. And then I used my marking gauge, 1/8 of an inch, and marked it all the way around. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Marked it all the way around here so I can reference that as I'm removing material. So let's get set up and make this first rabbet. Okay. Now, my rabbet plane, you can see here the blade goes all the way across the bottom, and that allows me to make those corners that I need for the rabbet. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can put a fence on here and clamp it and use that to guide your plane. Some planes actually have a fence on it, and you can use the fence to do that. So it really depends on the tools you have available to you. But this works good for me, so we're going to stick with it. So if we are ready, I'm going to use this.
You want to spell this?
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that. What I'm going to do is cut this out just a little bit. Can you see there? Mm-hmm. I don't want that to... my eyes aren't what they used to be, but I don't want that to spelch or chip out as I'm planing along. So this corner of the plane is going to fit in this groove, and then as I go, I'm going to work my way down to horizontal. And then when I'm as close as I dare to go, I'll finish up with my router plane. So if we are ready, here we go. Start out real easy at first, because it's very easy for this to jump out of its groove. Or as I dare for that. Now I'm going to just work my way down from here. Okay, I'm going to take it the rest of the way with my router. Okay. I think that's got it. Okay. That's pretty good. A couple tear outs there. You can see here, that fits pretty nice. It's resting on the bench a little bit here, but you get the idea. So, now I do the 3 more of those, and we will be right back. And a new day dawns here in the workshop. Here are our rabbets, and they turned out real nice, I think. But now we need 2 more rabbets, and let me show you what I mean here. These sides are going to meet with the bottom, and I need that rabbet to form a joint with the bottom. So I need a 3/4 of an inch wide, 1/8 of an inch deep rabbet along the bottom inside edge of each board. So what I'm going to be using is my plow plane. You've seen me use this before on projects. It's a very useful tool to have in the shop. It's got cutters of various widths. It has an adjustable fence. It has a depth gauge here, and it's just perfect for making grooves and long grain rabbets and even tongue and groove joints. So nice to have, and this is what I'm going to be using to make the rabbet I need. Now, this cutter is the widest one I have, and it's 3/8 of an inch wide. I need a 3/4 inch wide rabbet. But that's no problem, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to plow 2 grooves side by side, and 2 3/8 inch grooves are going to make the 3/4 inch rabbet that I need. So I think you'll understand better when you see me doing this. Let's put it together here and get set up. Oop, goes the other way around. Let's not get the wrong edge there, Ken. Okay. Okay. Looks good. Okay. Now I did notice that my grain is going up this way, and that means it's prone for tear out, but this is a joint you're really never going to see. It goes along the bottom. So I want this to be a functional joint, and if it's got some nicks or tear out or so forth, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So if we're ready, here we go. Let me just double check here. Okay, here we go. Not much tear out at all. I'm happy. nicked myself.
Did you?
Okay, it's all right. All right. More blood. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one while I have the same setting on my fence here. And then I'm going to get a Band-Aid too. Okay. Let's just keep right on going here.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Still rolling?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, all right, hang on. Okay, are we ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, now we're going to reset to make our second groove, and I'm going to bandage up my finger. We'll be right back. Okay, we stopped and did a little cleaning up here, blood stains, etc. And now what we're going to do is our second groove. Using my plow plane, I've reset my fence here. You can see it there. It's now going to take off this other part here. You'll see as we get going what I'm talking about here. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to set it up over here and work my way back. Ready? Mm-hmm. You all right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'll do the second one. Okay, so there we go, and we'll be right back. Now, you know I had to put this thing together and get a look, right? Well, here it is, and I think it turned out great. I have to say the rabbets really made the assembly easy. And I only needed 3 clamps to get the whole thing together. So what I'm going to be doing between now and the next time we get together, that'll be show number 4, is I'm going to be cutting the bottom to size, and then I'm going to be extending this back over here, so that at the beginning of show number 4, we'll begin with the hinged seat that we need to make, and also how it attaches to our bench. And then I'm going to be nailing the whole thing together, and we're going to get our first look at what our bench is actually going to look like. So, all very exciting stuff. Can't wait for that. That's it for show number 3. Thanks for stopping by, and see you next time.
Wasn't that great?